Okay, so my name's Adrian, I'm 34, and this isn't something I ever thought I'd write down. But after his wedding, man, I gotta get this out. It's about my brother, Tyler. We've always had a weird relationship, you know? He's 31, all charming and successful, the golden boy, total opposite of me. I'm the quiet one, always the planner, the one who fixed everything, chipped in when mom and dad were short. And yet, I always felt like invisible. Like background noise to his whole amazing life. We weren't close growing up, not really. He'd wreck stuff and blame me, and I'd take the heat to keep things calm. Mom and dad would just sigh and say, "He's still learning, Adrian, you're older, be the example." So I did. Even when he stole my car at 17, totaled the side backing out of some party, I paid the insurance. Didn't even tell mom and dad. And then, at 21, he calls me from jail. Shoplifted cologne for his girlfriend. Guess who bylaid him out? Yep, me. Again, nothing, just me keeping the peace. So, cut to now. Tyler's getting married, this woman Marissa. I've met her a couple times over the past couple years, and honestly, we didn't exactly hit it off. She's got this way of talking, eyes half closed, like she's already totally over whatever you're saying. She was always all dolled up, constantly checking out the room, like she was waiting for someone better to arrive. She once said my job and how I handled stuff was cute. So yeah, I've kept my distance from her. But even so, I sent back a yes when the wedding invites went out. I even helped Tyler with some stuff, suggesting a fantastic caterer I'd used for work. He went with them. I knew I wouldn't be the best man or anything. I'm not that out of touch, but I figured I'd get a decent table, maybe feel like I belonged a little. The wedding was at this amazing place in the country, with lights strung across big oak beams and a little lake sparkling in the distance. Super fairytale, totally Instagrammable. Perfect, right? I got there early with a present all wrapped up, a decanter set with their initials and wedding date engraved on it. Not showy, but elegant. Something they could keep forever. I checked in, and this girl with a headset and a clipboard gave me a forced smile. "You're Adrian, right?" I nodded. She glanced at her sheet and made a face. "You're down as a +1. I blinked. "Wait, what?" "You're with the +1s, so you're by the kitchen entrance by the fold-out tables. If you had someone with you, it'd be different, but since you're just—" My stomach just about hit the floor. "I'm his brother." The girl stopped, frozen. "Oh, I'm so sorry, that has to be a mistake." But before she could run off, Marissa showed up. That dress, her makeup, that fake smile, it was all perfect, sickeningly so. "Hey, Adrian," she drawled, like my name was some kind of bitter pill. "So glad you could make it." She went on about the seating chart, all sweet and innocent. "The planner and I had to make some tough choices, because of space." I just stared at her. "You put me in the kitchen," I said, barely a whisper. She giggled a little too quickly. "Not in the kitchen, silly, just near it. It's for +1s, honey. You weren't in the wedding party, so we had to give the good seats to family and close friends. No hard feelings, right?" she added, that sugary sweetness dripping from her tone. I looked past her, scanning the room. All those fancy tables, the candles, people laughing and drinking champagne, it was a blur. There was my uncle, hadn't spoken to Tyler in 6 years, smack dab in the middle of everything. Even Ryan, the guy who once got busted stealing from Grandma, had a prime seat. And then I saw her Tessa, my ex, 2 tables away from the main table, laughing it up with a glass of something bubbly. We dated 5 years ago. Tyler had introduced us after we broke up. Later, I found out they'd been in touch the whole time. Of course, she had a good seat. Marissa must have seen me staring. "Oh yeah," she said, all bright and breezy. "We invited Tessa. She and Tyler are still friends, and she's always been so supportive of him." She looked at me, waiting. "You don't mind, right?" I didn't say anything, just nodded. Slowly, I walked over to my chair. A folding chair, my designated spot. The table was shoved at the end, near the swinging kitchen door where servers were constantly barging through, bumping into people and saying sorry while balancing plates of food. It was loud, the air was thick, and it reeked of fish and burned herbs. I just sat there for a sec. I watched as the music started and the couple walked in. Everyone applauded. I saw Tyler say something to Tessa as they passed, and she gave him a smile that felt off. I watched my present get shoved to the side, joining a growing stack of other gifts. Then I just stood up. I went back to the table, grabbed the box with the decanter, and started heading for the door. When I got near Marissa on the dance floor, she turned, spotted me, and yelled, "Wait, where are you going?" I stopped, slowly turned around. The room got quiet enough to hear the end of what I said. "+1 this." A few people gasped. I think someone laughed. Whatever, I walked right through the doors, still holding the gift. I wasn't angry, I was just calm, slow, deliberate. That's what probably made it worse, I think. As I got to the parking lot, I heard footsteps behind me. It was Tyler. He was jogging after me, his jacket flapping, mouth moving but not sure what to say. Adrian, wait, dude, what was that? Why are you leaving? Come on, it's my wedding. I turned around and looked at him. You let her stick me by the kitchen? He stammered. It wasn't. I didn't realize she did the seating. I just thought, okay, so it wasn't a huge thing, right? I told myself that. No big deal. But he gave Tessa, a better seat than his own brother. He looked so awkward, fiddling with the back of his neck. We weren't trying to leave you out, man, he stammered. Marissa just wanted certain people up front. She didn't want any drama. Drama? I repeated, my voice flat. You mean me being in the same room as your ex-girlfriend who dated your brother? He didn't say anything. That silence. Man, something inside me just shattered. Or maybe it finally snapped back into place, I don't know. I didn't scream or throw the present or anything mean. I just turned, got in my car, and drove off. As I pulled away, I saw him there in the gravel, kind of waving, kind of frozen, like he couldn't decide if he was mad or embarrassed. And honestly, that was just the start of the real mess. I didn't head straight home. I just drove around for a long time, windows all the way down. The cool night air was the only thing keeping me from completely losing it. Finally, I ended up at this quiet spot outside of town, overlooking the city. You know, one of those places where you can see all the city lights spread out like tiny sparks against the dark sky. I sat there, just parked in the quiet, letting everything sink in. Not just the wedding, but all of it. Years of it. The unfairness, the games he played. How he treated me like I was some nobody in his perfect little life. And sitting there in that quiet, I made up my mind. I was done being quiet. I wasn't gonna put up with that crap anymore just to keep things calm. I didn't text Tyler back that night or the next morning either. I also ignored Marissa's message. It said, "Hey, sorry about yesterday. Hope you're not still mad. Let's just forget it." Nope. I didn't respond, but I did open my laptop. See, I work in logistics and event planning. It's not just about mapping out delivery routes and timelines. I handle emergencies, deal with vendors, and do all the behind-the-scenes tracking for big events. One of my recent clients was the catering company Tyler used for the wedding. I'd actually referred them, and I'd helped them get more business. So, I gave Nancy, the catering manager, a call. She's a great person, super efficient, and had already thanked me a bunch after the wedding for connecting us. I told her straight up how I felt, that I was disrespected and not just some random +1. I also told her I was rethinking whether I'd recommend her services in the future. She paused for a second. Then, she said something that really hit home. We had to scramble all day. They didn't pay the full deposit, and then they changed half the guest list 3 days before the wedding. Honestly, if you hadn't helped with the logistics, we wouldn't have made it work. I'm so sorry you were treated like that. That's all I needed to hear. Because that meant there were issues. Evidence contracts leverage. I didn't blow up right away, though. That's not me. I prefer to let things simmer. Okay, so it all started small, you know? First thing I did was ditch that custom wedding gift order I'd put in for them. It wasn't just the fancy decanter, either. I'd also gotten them a matching set of crystal glasses, all set to show up at their place the next week. But I didn't let that happen. Nope, I rerouted the whole thing to my own address. Hey, I figured I might as well enjoy those nice Scotch glasses, right? Then I gave a little heads up to the wedding photographer. She's a friend. She'd taken amazing photos at the wedding and usually gives discounts to friends and family who refer her. I told her to forget about giving Tyler and Marissa any kind of deal. She got it right away. I was quietly cutting them off, slowly and surely. But the big blow came about a week later, an email from Tyler. The subject line, just need help. Classic him. Turns out, him and Marissa were trying to extend their honeymoon. Marissa's rich uncle had given them this 3-week trip to Bali, but they'd messed up their passports somehow. Now they were scrambling, trying to get those renewed super fast, plus rebook flights, plus sort out their villa. Tyler's exact words were, "You're the only one I trust to fix this stuff. You're good at this. Please, man." No apology, nothing about what went down at the wedding, just help me. I just stared at that screen for a while, and then I started a new draft, typing, "Hey, Tyler, I wish I could help, but I'm not taking any more bookings." And then, good luck. But I didn't send it, not because I changed my mind. I figured out something way better. I didn't have to say a thing. So instead, I shot the email over to Angela, an old work buddy who handles travel emergencies for some important people. I didn't ask her to help, I asked her to block them. Okay, yeah, it was petty, I know, but it just felt right. I'd been that person, the one who always fixed things, the quiet rock for a family who never noticed the pressure I was under. And this time, I just let it all go. 2 days later, I got a text from Tyler. He sounded less like someone getting married and more like a guy falling apart. "Did you tell Angela not to help us?" he wrote. "She said something about you blocking us. What's going on, man? We're stuck in Singapore. Flights are canceled. The villa won't refund us. Marissa is freaking out. What's your problem?" I didn't answer. I was having dinner with a friend when I saw Marissa's name flash on my phone. This time she called. I didn't pick up, she left a voicemail. "Adrian, I don't know what your problem is, but Tyler is losing it. If this is about the wedding, you need to get over it. We didn't mean to hurt your feelings. You made your point. Now stop being childish and fix it." And that made me actually laugh out loud, right there at the restaurant. I didn't fix a thing. I just kept quiet, leaning back and letting things be, 'cause I knew they were about to get hit with something they weren't expecting. Remember that catering bill I brought up earlier? The one where they didn't pay enough. Yeah, well, it turns out that when a client gives the wrong guest count, changes food requests after the cutoff, and doesn't pay everything within 2 weeks, this specific part of the contract comes into play. There's a 25% penalty tacked on. Nancy, bless her heart, was so done with trying to get them to pay, so she filed a formal complaint with the venue, and that set off a whole bunch of extra charges. The bartender, who also got stiffed, did the same thing. Suddenly, Tyler and Marissa weren't just bummed about their honeymoon. They were staring down thousands of dollars in late fees. Penalties and security deposits they weren't getting back, all because they thought they could take a shortcut and leave me out. And I hadn't even played my final card. About 2 weeks after all the honeymoon drama, I started getting tagged in some wedding pictures on social media. A cousin of theirs had posted an album with the caption, "Beautiful wedding, unforgettable night. Congrats, Tyler and Marissa." I clicked on it just to see. And I swear to you, it was like watching a highlight reel of me being erased. Out of 83 photos, I was only in one. You could see the back of my head, all blurry, near the kitchen door. I wasn't in the family photos. I wasn't in any of the videos of the speeches. The caption didn't even include my name, even though they were thanking everyone for making the day special. Guess who was mentioned? Tessa, who commented, of course. Liking the post felt like a jab in the gut now, not just an oversight. It felt like Marissa decided I didn't matter, and Tyler just went along with it. That's when I thought, no way, I'm not just fading into the background this time. I was gonna hold up a mirror and show them what they were really like. So, I put up a post. Just a simple, straightforward slideshow of some photos I snapped on my phone while we were getting everything ready. There I was, fixing table numbers, helping the florist with the flowers, chatting with the caterer. I also put a screenshot of the seating chart Marissa's planner sent in a group email by mistake. My name was listed as a +1, with Tyler's brother in parentheses, literally an afterthought. Then I wrote, helped plan the wedding, found the venue, got the caterer a discount, showed up early to help set up, and got put at a table near the kitchen as a +1. The bride told me to be understanding, so I just quietly left. 2 weeks later, the bride asked for more help. This time I said no. Apparently, that makes me petty. The post kinda blew up in our little world. I didn't expect it, but people started sharing it, leaving comments. Old high school friends, former coworkers, even family started reaching out. My cousin Lauren messaged me, saying, "I knew something was off that day. You looked so uncomfortable, I'm sorry." I didn't respond to everyone, but I read every single message. It felt like, I was being heard, but it wasn't just about people feeling sorry for me. What came next was the real kicker. 2 days later, Tyler hit me up again. I sent it straight to voicemail. This time, he wasn't yelling or anything. He sounded shaky. "Hey, so Marissa's mom saw your post and Marissa's freaking out. She thinks you're trying to mess up her rep. Her boss is one of your followers. Dude, she's saying we need you to take it down." I listened to that while I was at the gym. Played it twice, then again on the way to my car. I didn't text back. Instead, I put up another post. Been asked to take down my last post. Apparently the truth hurts some people's image. I'd delete it if it wasn't totally true. I won't be quiet anymore just to make someone else look good. I spent way too long shrinking myself for others. Never again. No names, no angry stuff, just the truth. That was the thing. People can argue about what they think, but they can't make receipts and seating charts disappear. That post? It blew up way bigger than the first one. Marissa's boss didn't comment publicly, but a friend we both knew sent me a screenshot. It was a message on the company's Slack, reminding everyone to act right even outside of work. Plus a reminder that how people see you says a lot about you. Things started falling apart fast after that. First, I got a call from Marissa's mom. Not a message, a whole phone call. I let it go to voicemail, but she went off for a good 3 minutes about how much this was hurting their family's image and how I'd regret making a fuss over a stupid chair. A chair, she said. But that chair, it spoke volumes. They just still didn't understand. It wasn't about the chair itself. It was like years of being disregarded finally broke through all the pretending. Then the texts started flying. Tyler tried to smooth things over by making a family group chat, a let's clear the air kind of thing. He added everybody, close family and distant relatives alike. His first text, something like, "Hey everyone, just wanted to talk about the stuff on social media." Things got way blown out of proportion. Let's all just move on. I just stared at that message for a whole minute. Then I typed back, "I'm happy to move on, but only when people own up to what they did, not when they call the fallout drama." Crickets. Then my aunt piped up with, "I always wondered why you were sitting in the back. We figured you'd offered to help out in the kitchen or something." Another cousin jumped in, "Seriously, I thought you left because you were feeling sick. I had no clue you were treated that way." It only took minutes for the story Tyler and Marissa had spun to completely fall apart. And Tyler, he bilayed on the group chat. Marissa blocked me everywhere, but here's the really crazy part. About 3 weeks later, I get this handwritten letter. The envelope was thick, creamy, and kind of smudged. No return address. The note inside just said, "Adrian, I've been doing a lot of thinking. I didn't get it then, but I see it now. I let Marissa run everything because I figured it was easier than fighting for you. I messed up. You always had my back, and I made you feel like you didn't even matter at the worst time in my life. I don't think I deserve a second chance, but I wanted to thank you for everything. And I'm sorry for all the stuff I didn't do. Tyler." No explanations, no demands, just the letter back in the envelope on my desk. I haven't answered it. Not yet. Because sometimes, the best thing you can do isn't getting even. It's just letting people live with the world they built without you, and then they finally realize who was holding everything together. And this time, I'm done. I didn't write back to Tyler right away. It just sat there for a week, under a paperweight on my desk. It wasn't that I didn't appreciate the apology. I really did. Honestly, a part of me had been waiting my whole life to hear him admit he was wrong, without all the usual garbage, without the "you're too sensitive," or the "that's not what I meant," all the ways he always tried to weasel out of it. But I also knew this wasn't just about a wedding. It wasn't even about a chair. It was about years, decades really, of being the second choice, the fixer, the one who just took it all. I'd played the good brother for so long, I didn't even notice how much I'd let myself get pushed around to keep everyone else happy. And now, this quiet inside me wasn't anger, it was like a light bulb going off. I needed to figure out what kind of relationships I wanted, not just with Tyler, but with my whole family. Then the holidays hit. Thanksgiving at my parents' place, the usual huge spread. Turkey, all the fixings, the works. And get this, Tyler and Marissa were both there. Or, I guess, still invited. Because it hit me I hadn't really been included much over the years. I hadn't planned on going, but Mom called a week before, begging me to come. She said it would mean the world to her, no drama, she swore. So I said okay. Not to be nice, not to keep the peace, but because I was finally ready to talk things out. When I got there, something felt weird. Not tense exactly, but way quieter than normal. My cousins just sort of nodded. My aunt gave me this strained smile. Tyler was in the living room setting up chairs. He froze when he saw me, then gave this super stiff wave. Marissa wasn't even there. Mom later mumbled something about Marissa having other plans, which, let's be real, probably meant she couldn't handle facing everyone after her lies came to light. Then we all sat down to eat. Tyler barely touched his food during dinner, just kind of picked at it, then he'd laugh way too loud at jokes. He kept looking at me, like he was waiting for me to give him the okay, like everything was all good again. But I didn't. After we finished dessert, everyone was just hanging around, the football game was on low in the background, and Tyler found me in the kitchen. We were all alone. He mumbled, "Thanks for coming." I just nodded. "Thanks for the letter," I said back. He looked so relieved, like that was the key he'd been waiting for. I meant what I said, he went on. I was a total idiot. I let things get completely out of control. I didn't pull any punches. You did, I said. He needed to hear it, plain and simple. He winced but didn't argue. I thought maybe we could go back to how things were, he said. I just stared at him. What does that even mean, Tyler? I asked. Because for me, normal meant being your second choice. It meant being the guy you called when you were in a jam, but not when things were going your way. It meant sitting way in the back at your wedding like I wasn't even important. He let out a big sigh. I know, he said. I know that now, and I don't want it to be like that anymore. You can want that, I told him, but you gotta earn it. I'm not just handing out do-overs. You can't treat someone like crap for years and then think you can fix it with a single sorry. He looked down, nodding slowly. So, what do I do? He asked. I crossed my arms. You show up all the time, you stop making everything about you, you take responsibility without me having to ask. So I finally told him, look, you can't always count on me to clean up your messes. He nodded real slow this time. Okay, he mumbled, I just shrugged. We'll see, I said, not really believing it myself. He didn't try to give me a hug or make a joke like he usually did. For once, he just let things hang there, you know? It felt like real progress. Then, a few months later, things got interesting. Tyler actually tried. It started with little texts, nothing big. Stuff like, hey, how's work going? Or just thinking about you. Nothing mushy, just consistent. Then one Saturday, boom, he's at my door with coffee and a bunch of croissants. No reason, he said, holding them up. Just wanted to hang out. We watched a game, talked about work normal stuff. He didn't even mention the wedding or ask for help with anything. He just was there, like a brother should be. It wasn't some magical fix-it moment. I didn't suddenly trust him completely, but something had changed. Slowly, I started to meet him halfway. I heard through the gossip mill that Marissa wasn't exactly happy about how things went down. Word was she lost a few friends after the whole wedding mess people saw how she treated me. She made her own bad reputation, not because I said anything, but because of her actions. By spring, Tyler and Marissa announced they were separating. We weren't officially split, just taking a break. Honestly, I wasn't shocked. I'd heard things hadn't been great between them since their Bali trip, and me standing up for myself seemed to make them face some serious issues in their relationship. Tyler didn't tell me everything, but one afternoon while we were grabbing a bite, he said something like, I think I got so wrapped up in showing off for everyone, I forgot how to just be myself. She liked the Instagram version of me, not the dude who scarfs down cold pizza in a hoodie at 2 a.m. I just listened. It wasn't my place to give advice, but I was relieved he was finally getting it. Later that summer, Tyler asked me over for a low-key birthday barbecue in his backyard. No fancy clothes, no decorations, no assigned seats. Just friends, burgers, and a cooler full of cheap beer. He tossed me the tongs and said, You're on grill duty, tradition, man. It wasn't some huge thing, but it felt genuine. As the night was winding down, he raised his beer bottle and said to me, To Adrian for being a true brother even when I was a jerk. I didn't give some big speech. I just clinked bottles with him and said, Took you long enough, buddy. Everyone laughed. That moment was short, but in that laughter, something shifted. Forgiving someone isn't about pretending the bad stuff never happened. It's about deciding who you want in your future. I still have the wedding decanter in my cupboard. It doesn't hurt to look at it anymore. It's just a decanter. Beautiful, sturdy, and finally being used the way it's supposed to be. It started like any other day, but it quickly went downhill. I woke up late, missed the bus, and then spilled coffee all over my favorite shirt. I was already in a terrible mood when I got to school. During first period, I got called out by the teacher for not paying attention, which made me feel embarrassed. Then, at lunch, I couldn't find a table to sit at and ended up eating alone. After school, I had to stay for detention because I was late to class. Everything just kept going wrong. I felt so defeated and alone. When I finally got home, I just wanted to crawl into bed and disappear. I knew things would eventually get better, but in that moment, it felt like the whole world was against me.